In 2008, we called it Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. And we told you that this year we'd have the whole sorry story for you. Well, here it is. From last year, we think the hallmark quote was from then newly appointed Honeywell CEO Norm Gilsdorf, who said, "I don't think it's over quite yet, but the zombie is raising his arm from the grave." The zombie is, in fact, rising. Honest, we swear. Hi, I'm Walt Boyes, editor of Control and ControlGlobal.com, and with Larry O'Brien, research director of ARC Advisory Group, we produce the Control ARC Top 50 Automation Companies list every year. This year, we called it Automation's Reset, and you can see from the numbers that while the recession is over, the situation isn't stabilized yet. The entire industry was hurt in 2009, and badly. From a total revenue of $87.6 billion in our last report, revenues plunged in 2009 to $77.8 billion, an incredible devaluation of more than 11% in a single year. Now, the recession is by all accounts over, and the recovery is underway. Unfortunately, the recovery appears to be riding into town on the back of an elderly and very lazy tortoise. It reminds one of the old Three Stooges bit, "Slowly I turned, step by step." The discrete automation suppliers were the first into the recession because of the huge trend of destocking, the shock to the automotive and durable goods industries, and putting off regularly scheduled maintenance during the recession. However, the discrete automation suppliers were also the first to recover from the recession as restocking efforts came online, scheduled maintenance and MRO activities were revived. The process suppliers were the last to go into the recession and were able to eat through an enormous amount of project backlog that got them through the recession with less of an impact than the discrete suppliers felt. However, the process suppliers were also the last to come out of the recession because they ate through their backlog and didn't have the new projects coming in to fill the pipeline. Well, now those projects are coming online again. The pipeline is filling up again, and the process suppliers are recovering with a lag time of about 6 months compared to the suppliers who do a lot of discrete business. Moving forward, the process suppliers will generate some good growth from the desperate need to modernize the installed base. In 2009, a lot of capacity was taken offline. End users postponed migration and modernization projects, and the market was flooded with spare parts. This gave users the opportunity to keep their old installed base afloat just a little longer and put off those modernization projects. All of this is building up to a huge requirement for modernization over the next several years. The numbers we're using in this report are from 2009. This is so we can have normalized results to compare against each other. Companies release their full year results data on different schedules and at different times. This introduces nearly a whole year's lag in our report, but it's the only fair way to produce it. We can tell you, based on the reports some companies have already released, their 2010 numbers, which will all formally appear in the December 2011 issue of Control and on ControlGlobal.com, those numbers will show significant improvement over the numbers we are reporting here. ABB, the second largest automation provider globally, released their results for the third quarter on October 28th. Third quarter revenues were flat, but orders were up 16% for the quarter based on industrial automation and power orders. We continued to take full advantage of the global industrial recovery in the third quarter with excellent order growth, slightly higher revenues, and thanks to our cost takeout program, strong earnings as well, said Joe Hogan, who is ABB's Chief Executive Officer, in the published release. Our shorter cycle automation businesses turned in a particularly positive performance on both the top and bottom line as they grew revenues on a much more competitive cost base, he said. Emerson Electric reported its 2010 fiscal year results on November 2nd, announcing net sales increased 5% with cash flow higher than 2008 results, albeit on lower sales and earnings. Emerson Process Management, the largest automation supplier in North America, which accounts for really close to 26% of Emerson Electric's revenues, reported that sales continued to strengthen and were up 5% in the fourth quarter. Underlying sales increased 5%, acquisitions added 1%, and unfavorable currencies subtracted 1%. Orders strengthened in the trailing three-month period, driven by their strong global positioning and technology leadership. Segment margin increased to 19.1%, expanding 1.6% from 17.5% in the prior year quarter, driven primarily by cost reductions, lower restructuring expense, and volume leverage, according to the released report. In their half-yearly report released on November 4th, Inventus Chief Executive Ulf Henriksson reported Inventus Operations Management increased orders by 15%. As we continue to win large greenfield control and safety projects in emerging markets. Its order book is at record levels at £1 billion, and its pipeline of current order prospects is around £4 billion. Revenue growth in the second half will increase, he said, as we convert recent large orders into revenue. We've also experienced, he said, a recovery in short-cycle equipment sales, particularly in North America. Taken together, these have contributed to a significant improvement in operating profit and another strong cash performance, he closed. On November 9th, Rockwell Automation CEO Keith Nosbush reported fourth quarter revenue up 26% year-on-year, with sales up 12% for all of 2010 and sales of the Logic platform, the architecture and software segment, up 36% in the fourth quarter compared to the fourth quarter of 2009. Rockwell's closely watched process automation initiative, according to Nosbush, was responsible for $700 million in revenue, up over 2009 and actually comparing quite favorably to 2008's record numbers. He said the recovery has been sharper and faster than we expected. Rockwell's estimated 2011 earnings per share range from $3.80 to $4.20 a share. That's significantly higher than 2010, but according to Rockwell's CFO Ted Crandall, our EPS estimate is consistent with a balanced view of the economic conditions, EPS, of course, being earnings per share. Other companies are reporting increased sales, increased quotation activity, and increased backlogs. This is a significantly different picture than the one we painted last December. So based on reports like these, we're likely to present you with a considerably rosier portrait of the automation industry a year from now. And some companies use the new lower valuation of the market to snap up some bargain-priced acquisitions. As examples, ABB snapped up K-Tech, Emerson picked up Roxar, Honeywell picked up RMG, and a wang-dang-doodle of an acquisition, GE bought Dresser, including Mason Nealon, the second largest manufacturer of control valves. All of the automation vendors did restructuring, downsizing, and layoffs, but none of the bigger fish eat big fish acquisitions like the rumor of an acquisition of Rockwell by ABB materialized. Company managements realized that the cost of large acquisitions are much higher in the reorganizations and company culture shifts that accompany those sizable deals than they wanted to afford in a very deep recession. Most of the acquisitions were like ABB buying K-Tech to plug a hole in the product portfolio. And on November 30th, ABB announced the acquisition of Baldor Electric, instantly making them the largest motor and drives manufacturer in North America. Another hole plugger. Every year we publish the rubric under which Larry and I compile the list. It's pretty clear, and we've kept the criteria the same for several years now, allowing us to make year-over-year comparisons. You can see the criteria on ControlGlobal.com and in the December 2010 issue of Control. We'll continue to follow the antics and shenanigans of the automation vendor community, and we'll give you our next report in December of 2011. This has been another video cast from the Process Automation Media Network. On behalf of Larry O'Brien and ARC Advisory Group, I'm Walt Boyes, editor of Control, saying thanks for watching.